Welcome back to I Hate That Shit, a podcast about hating shit and loving life. As you can tell, I'm starting it off because Liz is not here today. I'm decided to do one of my righteous rants, and this one is going to be about religion and politics. So let's get started. And I hope everyone is doing well out there. This rant has been weighing on my mind for a while, so I decided to write down some stuff and read it to you guys about the way that I'm feeling about religion and politics. Here we go. First of all, you need to understand this. My faith in God is different than my identity as an American. Let me say that again. My faith in God is different than my identity as an American. I decided to do one of my righteous rants about religion and politics. If you know me, politics is one of my hobbies. Anyway, it has bothered me for some time about the way religion is trying to take over our government and our system of a democratic republic. It's just been stuck there. It's just, you see it on the news, you read about it in the paper, you see it in your everyday life, you see the way people are treating each other. And over religion, it's too much for me. It's just too much. If you've been paying attention to what is going on in the USA, you know what I'm talking about, right? Okay. American politics and religion have a very complex and intertwined relationship that has evolved over centuries. So let's start at the beginning with some historical context. The delegates to the 1717 Constitutional Convention blocked the establishment to make Christianity a national religion. Thank God we don't need a national religion in America. That's what religious freedom is all about. So religion has played a huge, significant role in shaping American politics, thoughts, and actions since the country's founding. You can't keep religion out of American politics. I mean, because we're Americans and we're supposed to be part of the democratic process, so it's kind of hard. But many of the early settlers were motivated by religious freedom and religious principles influencing the formation of our nation's laws and institutions. During the civil rights movement, it was perhaps the most effective religious intervention in our politics in American history. I mean, that's all good. That's what you want our religious leaders to be fighting for. Social issues that affect all of us. All of us. I mean, that was a positive thing. But what gets me is all the shady shit that the church and the religious rights alliance with politicians have in many ways realized the founders' fear of religious and political electoral coalitions. And that's the thing too. Our electoral college is a relic of the past. I mean, some traditions, fine, you want to keep, but as a country, we're supposed to keep moving forward, and the electoral college is one of those things that definitely needs to be done away with. How is it the electoral college was made when only white rich men could vote? Black people couldn't. They were only considered 1/5 of a human anyway. And definitely don't even get me started about women. I mean, women up until 1972 couldn't even have a damn credit card to their names. So that's for another topic, definitely, but the First Amendment to our country's Constitution prevents the government from having any authority over religion and guarantees the free exercise of religion. And many faiths flourish in the United States. I mean, we have become the most religiously diverse country in the world. This diversity adds complexity to the intersection of religion and politics. That's where things start to go a little haywire. This diversity adds different religious groups may have divergent political priorities and beliefs. 65% of Americans identify as Christians. Non-Christians, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, and all the rest, collectively only make up 6% of the adult population. Another 20% have no religious affiliation. Of course, there are Christians in both political parties. The breakdown is the evangelical Christians and conservative Catholics tend to support the Republican Party. I wonder why that is. Because I don't understand. If you say you're a Christian, you follow Jesus' teachings. And we know that Jesus says to love one another and help each other. But when the evangelical Christians, I'm doing air quotes, when they take away women's rights and vote against free lunch for kids in school, really? You're going to say you're a Christian? That doesn't sound too Christian to me. I mean, no relief on student loans, even though their PP loans from the pandemic were forgiven. I mean, politicians up in, especially the Republican Party, up on the Hill in Washington, got a $1.7 trillion tax cut when Trump was in office. And these same people are bitching about canceling $1.7 trillion in student loans for American people. That $1.7 trillion tax cut that Trump gave went to only 600 billionaires. And how many for the 1.7? I'm not sure about the number, but I know it's hundreds, probably even thousands. So I don't understand this thing about saying, oh, well, I'm a Christian. I follow Jesus' teaching. The fuck you don't. What the hell is wrong with you? You're supposed to, I'm just sick of the religion in our politics because it harms so many people. And I just don't want to. Christians who want to harm people who are trying to escape war and thugs and gangs in their home country who want to come here for a better life, they get treated like shit by these evangelical Christians and conservative Republicans. I mean, attacking LGBTQ folks and everyone else, but they follow Jesus. But this is the stuff that has seeped into our politics. It's disgusting. You can't sit there and say that you're a Christian and then try to do policy that hurts everybody else because they don't look like you, don't talk like you, don't think like you. I would be so embarrassed to call myself a Christian when I'm not following Jesus' teaching. That makes you look like a hypocrite. Because you can sit there and say whatever the hell you want, but these so-called Christians disparage everyone who doesn't look like them or think like them. It's fucking pathetic. Hypocrites who want to make law in our country. I don't want a hypocrite making law in my country. I know that. We're supposed to be progressive. We're supposed to be moving this country forward. And how do we do that when we have people over here who says that they're Christians, but they're trying to hold back people and disparage people who don't look like them? The problem is that white evangelical Christians are afraid that their country is being taken from them. I just don't get it. It just doesn't make sense. I say vote them all out, and that's the only place that we can do it is at the ballot box. You have to do it. Okay, now I know I'm ranting, but whatever. That's what it is. It's the Bonnie's Righteous Rant today, people. Anyway, it's easy to do when you see the people in your country. Ranting is so easy. People who profess to be Christians, but they're running around with spouting all kinds of scripture, but their hearts are full of hate. Why would you want to be part of a group of folks who spout fear, hate, and violence? That's what Christians, I'm not saying this just to say. There's proof out there. Watch the news, read the paper, read a book. That's all they're doing on the right, is just promoting fear, hate, and violence, saying everything that's wrong in this country is because of DEI, diversity, inclusion, some kind of program, equality program. The immigrants are ruining our country. Young women who don't want to get married, you're supposed to be submissive and bear your husband's children and be barefoot and pregnant. That's what these evangelicals want. I'm telling you, I hate that shit. They are definitely hypocrites. But anyway, that leads us into the separation of church and state. This is where it gets good. The separation of church and state, which is a legal and political principle. It's not in our Constitution as much as people think it is. It's not. The phrase is attributed to Thomas Jefferson, our third president, in a letter to the Danbury Baptist Association in 1802, where he referred to the First Amendment as creating a wall of separation between church and state. That's right, a wall. And now there's so many evangelical Christians and conservative Republicans who are trying to dismantle that. They want to have a national religion, and the Bible should be the only book that's allowed in school. How do you teach? The problem with that, though, is that they only want to teach what they want people to know. It's called indoctrination. As much as they say the people on the left are indoctrinating people, it's not true. It's just not true. You can't take your religion and make policy, because it hurts a lot of different people. But anyway, the religious influences on politics. Despite the constitutional separation, religion continues to play a significant role in our politics. Many politicians draw on religious language and values to connect with voters, and religious organizations often advocate for specific policies or social causes, such as abortion and book banning. It's ridiculous. Book banning? The reason why they want to ban books is because they don't want kids to learn the history of why America isn't great. They might say that it's great, but it really isn't. All you have to do is talk to someone who isn't white, or a woman, or a black person, or anyone else of any other color. You can't take your religion and shove it into policy. It's ridiculous. It is a sad and scary state of affairs when you look at the religious right trying to get the majority of Americans to side with them. Believe what you want. Just don't tell me I have to believe like you. Your religion does not prohibit me from anything. It prohibits you. Learn the difference. You want your religion to do for you, have at it. It's good. I mean, you're the one that has to answer to God at the end of your life, if that's the way you believe. But that's not the way everyone believes, and I don't think that's a way to do policy in America. What is sad is when our forefathers fled England, they did so to escape religious prosecution and oppression. Now they want to oppress others who don't believe like them. That's a damn shame. We have religious freedom in the USA. Lately, religious figures are highly politically active. I mean, that's why you're seeing the way things are. I mean, people are crazy out there. You see it every single day. And it's because people won't step back and realize that we're all in this together. I mean, that's the bottom line. Plus, I mean, these churches who are, especially these religious figures, and we see them on TV, evangelicals, we see them in all over in politics. Why, if that is true, churches right now are tax exempt? Why is that? They're supposed to stay out of politics, but of course they're not. So if they're tax exempt then maybe we should take away that tax exemption status from them and make them start paying taxes like everybody else has to. Plus, they get enough money from their congregation, because there are a lot of suckers out there that choose to give their money to these prosperity preachers who fly around in Gulfstream jets, live in big ass mansions. There is there is so much wrong with that, but we'll save that for another topic. All right, because I could really go off on that too, because that just don't make no damn sense to me. So before I finish reading what I have for you guys, I wanted to give you guys 10 facts about religion and government in the United States, right? So, of course, we know the First Amendment says the country shall have no official religion. No official religion. And Americans have been debating where to draw that line between religion and government since the country's founding. We get that. I understand that. But you can't have religious symbols on public property, prayer in school, which I don't know. I mean, I was an athlete in school and we always prayed. I mean, but back then the country wasn't as polarized and as dumbed down as it is now. It's just ridiculous. All right, anyway, so Pew Research did a survey, and it shows that far more Americans support, this is what I'm saying, far more Americans support than oppose the separation of church and state. I don't even have nothing to say, but of course, the question goes right down political identity and religious affiliation. Why are we not surprised at that? And we already know what side that is. So, number one, nearly 3/4 of U.S. adults, which is almost 75%, say religion should be kept separate from government policies. I concur. It's just a thing that we shouldn't be getting into. I mean, if you're a Christian or you're a religious person, that's good. That, you know what, that if that helps you get through your life, your day, then you should more than be religious. But that doesn't mean that it should be part of our policy. I mean, it just shouldn't. 2, the Johnson Amendment limits political activity by religious organizations, and most Americans, 70%, want churches and other houses of worship to stay out of politics. Yes, go to church, do your thing, feed the poor, give money where you can, that's fine. But if you have a preacher standing up there on Sunday telling his congregation how to vote, really? You're gonna tell me how to vote? I don't think so. But that's what it is. People are protesting that. I mean, sermons should not be about voting or protesting or any other form of political engagement, because if that happens, then they need to take away their tax exempt status, period. 3, the Supreme Court ruled in 1962 that it's unconstitutional for a teacher to lead a class in prayer at a public school. But in 2022, the survey found that the public school educators should be allowed to do this. I really don't have an opinion one way or the other, because it's not really, for me, that's not about making policy. I mean, if you feel like it, say amen, get up there and say amen. There's nothing wrong with that. And kids, the teenagers ages 13 to 17, 41% said that it's appropriate for a teacher to lead class in prayer. 29% of teens who knew that this practice was banned, but they still said it was acceptable nonetheless. So the Supreme Court's getting ready to rule on another case, constitutional right to pray at midfields at games, at football games. They actually are gonna What do you say? What do you say about that? I mean, has it really become that bad in America? that we have to make laws saying it's okay to pray on the midfield, on the 50-yard line. I mean, I think it's ridiculous. But 4, Americans are divided on whether local government should be allowed to put religious symbols on public property. I say no. No, because you might offend someone that isn't your religion, and that's why it's called public property. Public property is just that. That's for everybody. Your views on your religion should not be put on public property. Shouldn't be in our laws, and it shouldn't be in our policy that we're trying to move the country forward. Period. In the story. That's the way I feel. Okay. And plus, it would violate the First Amendment anyway, because you can't have a religion with our First Amendment. There's no religion. Nope. Sorry. Can't do it. But anyway, 5, while the U.S. Constitution does not mention God, nearly all state constitutions reference either God or the divine, which it's in our Declaration of Independence, it's in our Pledge of Allegiance, and of course, it's on our money. So it's so complex and it's so intertwined that I know getting politics and religion separate, I know that's a pipe dream, but we can at least try. We can at least do the policies that we need to have that are right about it. Anyway, 6, Christmas Day is the only federal holiday that also is a religious holiday. Although many Americans also view Christmas as a cultural holiday. It's okay. I guess courts have upheld Christmas Day's constitutionality, arguing that federal office closures do not coerce citizens to engage in religious activities. No, and I'm sure people who aren't religious are happy to have that day off, good for them or whatever, but it just goes to show you that it's still so intertwined. Christmas is the only day that is a federal holiday and a religious holiday at the same time. Kind of blows your mind if you think about it. 7, almost all U.S. presidents, including Joe Biden, have been Christian. Biden is the only second Catholic president after John F. Kennedy. And for the longest time, when Kennedy back in the 60s, people didn't want a Catholic president. They just thought it was just too far out there. And now, but we don't have a Jewish president yet. But most presidents have been sworn in with their hand on the Bible, taking their oath of office on the Bible with the phrase, "So help me God." It's kind of bizarre, don't you think? Roughly half of Americans feel it is either 20% or somewhat 30% important for the president to have strong religious beliefs, even if they differ from their own. You know what? I can get on board with that. I 100% can. 8, Congress has always been overwhelmingly Christian, and roughly 9 in 10 representatives, 88%, in the current Congress, including 99% of Republicans and 78% of Democrats, identify as Christian. That's not a surprise. If you see what's going on in America right now, that's not surprising. 9, the Constitution guarantees that religion can never be a requirement for holding public offices, but most Americans don't know that. It doesn't. Why would your religion? I mean, the last one I just read, 9, said that people think that a president should be a Christian, even though the Constitution doesn't guarantee that you have to have a religion to hold office. So that one kind of bumps up against itself because it doesn't seem to make any sense. Half of Americans say the Bible should influence U.S. laws. Nope. Nah. That's what church is for, and that's what fellowship is for. 10, Americans are divided on the extent to which the country's laws should reflect biblical teaching. Roughly half of adults say the Bible should influence U.S. laws, either a great deal, 23%, or somewhat, 26%. And the Bible should prevail over the will of the people. Really? Wow. Half of Americans, meanwhile, say the Bible shouldn't influence U.S. laws. And that I can get on board with too, because I don't think it's something that needs to permeate our politics. Politics is about, it's a process, it's about a policy, it's about doing what's best for everyone in America, not just the religious right. It's for everybody. And when you start including your beliefs as with the religion into policy, it just hurts too many people. But anyway, okay, secularism. That word is so hard for me to say, but I said it right. But secularism, it's part of all of this too. It is a principle of being indifferent to or skeptical and or critical of religious beliefs. It is generally a belief that nobody should be discriminated based on their religion they follow. They are equal according to the laws and regulations that govern the nation. And I agree. Secularism also has a strong tradition in American politics, with many advocating for policies and practices based on reason, science, and humanistic values instead of religious doctrine. That is why both sides clash, thinking that their side is the right side. Why can't we just meet in the damn middle? Why does it have to be all one way? Why can't we meet in the middle? That's what good policy is. That's what good Americans do. That's what good Christians do. That's what good people of any religion, you look out for each other. So why each side just thinks that they're right? So I don't want to get into that. But so in closing, I will say this. It is clear that the separation between church and state is a dynamic, evolving debate that needs to be had. We need to have this debate. People are going to get their feelings hurt. I mean, who knows? One of these good old Christians might pull out a gun and shoot you down because, that's their Jesus. Anyway, navigating has to be said because we're trying to navigate the principles of democracy, freedom of religion, and separation of church and state. So remember, whether you're in your pews at church or you're at the ballot box, understanding the separation between church and state is essential for safeguarding our democracy. Please think about that. And I'm done with my rant, but safeguarding our democracy is huge. We don't want fascism taking over our country through religion. So think about it. And thanks for listening to my rant today. Liz will be back next time. But as always, don't let shit get you down. You're not alone. We're all in this shit together. Peace.